welcome to the Justin Masterson Show. I am your host, Justin Masterson, and alongside me I have Mr. Matthew Zappazzotti, which he is working on a few things right now, but he is sneaking back into what we got going on here.
What's up? Word up, Jay.
Hey.
Good to be back.
How you doing, my friend?
Oh, what a beautiful Tuesday evening.
It is a beautiful Tuesday evening. I believe so also. And, boy, we have had a few things to try and piece together in order to get it working tonight. Maybe got here a little bit later than we wanted to, but
it's all part of it, baby.
Yes, it is. It is all part of it. But we got me thinking last week when we were all together, or 2 weeks ago, is that Zappo, you made mention, like, what do I call you? Do I call you Masty, whatnot? And so it got me thinking about nicknames. So I figure what better way to start this week than to come in and go, Zappo, I call you Zap, Zappo, Matthew. I'm sure there's countless more, but what all nicknames do you have?
Wow. Well, it kind of all starts with my last name, Zappazzotti. So, I mean, there's Zap, Z. My brother was Z.
Okay.
Tony, T, Z. I don't know. Those kind of rhyme. Dave, my brother, was more the traditional Zap, kind of like my dad. And then this wonderful Little League baseball story with a fellow teammate. His dad was super excited, and so they call me Zap, they call me Matt, whatever. And then I got up to bat, and I hear this, hit the ball, Zappo, run the bases, Zappo. And my teammates just went nuts. They just loved it. And so it literally stuck from probably I was like 10 years old, and they shout it, hit the ball, run the bases, Zappo. so Zappo kind of carried me through.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we came together, and that's what it was. I specifically remember Steve Spivey, who would just be like, "Oh, Zappo." I mean, I just him saying it, countless times, and countless other people did say it just the same. But that came too, because as I was thinking about myself, like I even had to write some of these down because Jay, I'm Mr. J to your boys, Uncle Justin. And then to some of my friends, I'm Uncle Pitch. Was that one for a long time. The old-time ball coach, Rick Wolf, my high school baseball coach, he was calling me Bat from Bat Masterson. And then you got JD, which is what my parents would call me. Best friend's dad would always call me, so people who were super close to me. Then you got J Mass. Then you got J Mast. And then there's Mr. Clean. I got a little bit of Goliath from Aaron Imbrecht, who was my roommate. Every Saturday morning, he'd pop in, and I'd sleep in a little bit. He'd be like, "Good morning, Goliath. It's time to get up."
Creepy.
Yeah, a little bit, yes. And then we got, Master J, son of the master. Pastor Mark's son is what my dad would call him. I call him Pastor Mark, and he called me Pastor Mark's son, which funny story about that one too. Nasty Masty.
Yeah.
Came from Boston. And then you got Mustard was in elementary school. And we actually had I don't know why it's Mustard, if I like mustard or what it was. We even had a teacher, one of the substitute teachers, would call me Mustard. And the craziest one, and I got a story for this. I don't think you've ever called me this. The craziest one is Jason.
Oh, wait. I may not have, but I've been around you enough to know that your second name is Jason.
which I don't know if that's like a normal thing for Justins. It goes Jason. But the crazy part for me is there is another story behind it when it comes down to it. And the fact of it is that I was born in Jamaica, if you didn't know that. I know you knew that.
Jamaica man.
Yeah, man, right near the beach, boy. And before, so I was made in America, but born in Jamaica. So before my parents went out to Jamaica, they had told, the people at the church before they left that they were going to call me Jason. And so then they went, was born. Dad must have been like, no, he's a Justin. And so sure enough, I'm Justin. And we go back, and the old people who had heard that I was going to be a Justin, or a Jason, they called me Jason. So that was just kind of natural. Felt like that would be a part of it, all part of it. But then anyone who gets to know me, for the most part, I'll tell them my name. I go, I'm Justin. And I know it's deep and those type of things, but I'll say it's Justin. And then without fail, they will respond and say, Jason? I'm like, no, it's not Jason. I mean, even that same roommate who called me Goliath at one point in time, he called me Jason, which I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at anybody who says that.
But it happens. I've been around introducing you to people, and they either don't hear it right or whatever. They got Jason in their mind, and all of a sudden you're Jason for the whole conversation. Like, you're not correcting him. Just it's what it is.
I mean, I'm not going to correct him because it's okay.
They Google you, Jason Masterson pitcher,
right.
And like, nobody comes up. Who is this guy? He stinks.
Yeah, more or less. He's not even on the internet. And so I don't get mad at people. They do it. Happens all the time. It's just I mean, now, as I would say, it's just all part of it. It's part of the journey, part of what's taking place. But one of the names that I did get was the Big Nasty. And I don't know if you remember who gave me that nickname, but he was from the Regional Radio Sports Network.
Ooh, is that Mr. Paul Condry?
That is Mr. Paul Condry. Very good, Mr. Zappazotti.
Now, he's well known among the Indiana sportscaster world. I mean, Hall of Famer and, gosh, football, baseball, basketball. I mean,
yes.
Does he have any sport he doesn't cover, like rugby?
No, I think he does it all. And if you are in Indiana and you're watching the sports, whatever, Regional Radio Sports Network does tons of things. He's got his Gritties, which is football. He puts out this huge booklet of football, every program, everything going on. It's really interesting. But I bring him up because one of my first starts in radio was really with Paul Condry.
Oh, yeah, that'd be okay. Circa 2004, and we're at Bethel, formerly known as college, now known as university. And if I'm remembering this right, so you'd pitch, and then the days you didn't hit, you'd go up and hang out with him, wouldn't you?
Well, I think it might have been help from you or whatever. I would go up and do the PA announcing.
Oh, yeah.
And then in between those innings or certain times, while he was having a break or there was a little something action or it wasn't happening, I would go on the show with him and kind of have some of those breaks talking with him in between going, now batting, number 5, Zach Rodman. And the music would just go crazy.
That's right. Yeah, we had sweet intro songs. I mean, granted, it's like every little kid's dream to play in major leagues, and then it's every little kid's dream to have an awesome walk-up song.
Oh, yes.
And then you actually get a hit.
It's the best. And I can even remember the announcing part of it. It was so much enjoyable for me is I can roughly remember all the songs, but I know for sure that you were the night rider.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Now batting. Number 4. That's right. Number 4, Matthew Zappazotti.
Oh no, you started just doing Zap.
Oh, you're right. I did.
Just straight Zap. The Night Rider's going, and it was just Zap.
That's right, with the Zap. Yeah.
Why'd they let you up there? No, you didn't go off the wall too much. There was somebody else that kind of got in trouble a little bit. I don't think you did you?
I did for one. I had Robbie Lightfoot would be up there with me. Eventually he'd help out, do some of the sound effects. But there was one time when a coach was going out to argue, and
classic.
Now, I don't know if you all heard that, but that was the there's no crying in baseball. And literally the coach is going out there and he freezes. He was yelling, complaining about something. He freezes. He looks up at the booth, points at me, points over at Coach Z, and then starts yelling at him.
And then walks off.
And
it worked.
It did work.
It was a way to kind of simmer down, buddy. Simmer down.
It was, and it simmered some things down. But boy, that was pretty intense.
Did you have to run polls for that? I don't think you did. You didn't get in trouble.
I don't remember getting in trouble
for
it.
I think it was just too funny. I mean, you can almost can't get in trouble for that. It's just like it was too perfect.
Because I think everybody was laughing.
Yeah.
They were just like, I mean, the coach was caught off guard. We'd been playing sound effects the whole time, anyways, and I think he was just
the natural theme song would come on with a home run as they're running around the bases. We play the natural theme song. Oh, so good.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's the beauty of small town ball. I mean, it's like our attendance is 40 people, including parents.
Oh yeah, and you could have fun with it. You could do, I mean, really whatever I wanted. And I think it started where we had somebody was trying to do it for us, but just didn't bring the energy, the oomph when it came down to it. And so we needed someone to bring some energy. And we're like, why not you? And I was like, you know what? Coach, why did Coach even allow it? That's so weird. Well, I'm a freshman coming in.
Yeah, but you didn't have it. I mean, we'd probably rather have you up there than in a dugout bugging everybody. So it's like, hey, we're losing, and we need some pump up music to get some energy here. Let's go. We had double headers, man. It was like a 5-hour day.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. And we have a guest who's supposed to be on today, but I don't know if they are having a little bit of trouble trying to get in here or not. We're trying to connect them up and see if we can get them going on top of this. So we're going to keep trying to do that in between time and all this type of stuff. But within that, we'll just keep on going.
Cruise with it, baby.
Absolutely.
I hope we get the guest. I mean, that would be great.
It will be great. But it just like you talked about right there, that reminds me. I see. Might as well just wear out nicknames right now. Okay. And so I got to give it out because I do like nicknames and I think they're great. Some people may not. I did go through a spell where I would call people by their first name and just kind of rock it like that. And so that would kind of throw people off, not to be mean or anything like that, but to be able to throw people off. But I got my kids, and thanks to Coach Fountain, like my son Cruz is Cruiser Bruiser. Ooh. Shout out to Cruiser Bruiser. Appreciate you, big guy. Nadia, I don't really know if, there's some simple ones that come out for her. But she used to be old fidget spinner, and that's what we joke about with her. And then you got Eden. She's got countless that she has with her friends. She go by Eddie, EJ, and whatnot. How about you with your kids?
Well, the one that you actually named is probably. I mean, we have 4 kids, and so there's a lot of nicknames. But you brought on Luca Baduka.
Ah, yes.
For my oldest, and that's pretty classy. We use that. Leo, I mean, he's got a lot of nicknames. I mean, Leo's kind of like Lion, so I don't think we go around calling him Lion, but we got that going. And then our last child, Olivia, is like Liv and all the others, but our last child's Amelia, but we call her like every name, like M and Mila and everything that you can go with that name. So more nicknames the better. Cruise to Bruise. What was it? Cruise and Bruising?
Cruiser Bruiser.
Oh, who we got coming in?
Is the name. And
I hear things.
You do hear some things, but don't get too crazy yet, okay. Because it's going to take me a second to really get it to where I need it to be.
What are you saying? You haven't done this before?
I have not done this before, but I'm working on it.
Call your producer.
Yeah, I will call my producer, but I'm not sure who my producer is going to be in order to do these type of things.
we might need Eric, the producer.
But without further ado, here we go. Without further ado, people, on the show, the very first guest that we're going to have on the Justin Masterson podcast, we bring to you my mom, Judy Masterson.
Hi,
Wow.
Justin.
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Well, it's good. You've been a little sick,
Yeah.
but I am glad that you decided to still be on here.
You
so
told me I
what,
had no choice.
Yeah, you are correct. I did tell you that you had no choice.
But he's a good child, right? I mean, you trust him enough.
Yes.
Yes, you are. You're delaying your thoughts there, Mom.
Just a little.
So we want to start out with the first question: Is how do you know me?
I gave birth to you. I met you in Jamaica in 1985, and we've been together ever since.
Yes, that's true.
It is.
No, we're trying to make sure that everybody out there can hear you.
Should I turn my sound up?
No, we're just trying to check on our end to see if you are popping out at all when you talk, because right now you're not. But go ahead and say something, Mom.
Something, Mom.
Oh, okay. Perfect. We got a mic right there for you.
Dad says he can hear me.
He can hear you now?
Can you hear me now, Dad?
See, welcome to the Justin Masterson Show live. This is what we got, people. Working on stuff. Like I said, it's all part of it. We were taking our time getting in here. Took us a little bit. We were a little bit delayed and all that type of stuff. But here we are working, and I have no doubt it's probably based off of my computer. But who cares? So, yeah, Mom, you've known me. Tell me a little bit about your sports history. Were you much of an athlete?
I played recreational softball, and then I got chosen for the all-star team. I don't know how old I was. Played second base really well. Couldn't bat. I swung at everything. So, but my fielding was good, so they took me for that.
Well, that is good. Fielding is good. Zappo can appreciate good fielding.
Oh, thanks, Zap.
And being able to survive with that. So that's wonderful. And so it's just rec softball? You didn't do I mean, I feel like as you got older, I went and watched you play a sport.
Volleyball?
Yeah.
We played church league volleyball. I guess when you were little, we did. I forgot.
Well, I think about when we were playing volleyball out in the at the church with the volleyball net outside, and then when we were doing that, I believe there's a ditch right next to where we were at, and you went after a ball down into the ditch. And what happened when you went down into that ditch?
I tore my meniscus in my left knee. And ended up in a brace for 8 weeks. Never needed surgery. So it's all good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty intense right there.
That's a tough mom right there.
It is pretty tough, Mom. Have you had anything like that, Zappo? Knees or?
My wife has. I've stayed clear of the knee surgery so far, but I did just turn 40.
Oh, you did.
So it's all downhill from here.
That is what I hear. Not there yet, so I'm not sure what that feels like. But since we got you on, Mom.
Yes.
And I'm excited that you are our first guest, and we'll try not to get too crazy with you because really, as I've gotten older and get married And now, there's a part in our relationship where, you are parent, and then we come together and we're able to, see you in the things, and who you really are, and as an adult, as a person. And so, like, I know as we got older, I learned more about kind of some of the familial trauma, relational trauma that you kind of had to deal with, in many ways. And so let me, like, I don't know, give us a little gist of, like, how in the world did you raise 3 kids that seemed relatively, I mean, the kids aren't normal, but the way that you did it seemed relatively normal. And like, looking back, I don't think you let any of that trauma that you had in your life affect the way that you raised us. So how did you make that happen? How is that even possible?
I made a decision that I was not going to raise my children the way I was raised. I was going to make sure that it was a God-centered home. And your dad and I did a really good job of making sure that you guys saw God in everything. We'd go on a hike and we would point out all nature and what God made and how creative it was. We got you involved in church to show you, so you learned to serve early. You helped me in children's church and things like that. We also talked about Dad's sermons on Sunday, and every question was allowed, and there was no non-questions when it came to learning about the Bible and God. Knowing that a consistency in our relationship with each other, our relationship with God, is what we wanted you guys to have too. So we worked really hard to do that, and not listen to my mother, who said things that I needed to do so you guys didn't grow up as hoodlums. Because,
and what were some of those things?
Well, I was supposed to discipline you more, but we all know that, who know you know that I couldn't spank you because you'd turn around and say that didn't hurt. Right?
I did. I did that once at least, where all I remember is that you spanked me. I turned around and said that didn't hurt, and then you said, wait till your father gets home. And as I constantly say, I must have blacked out because I don't remember anything after that.
Yeah, it hurt.
No, really. I don't know if it happened or not. But like, how did you? So yeah, God's been a big part. Your realness of your relationship with each other and those type of things. But how did you like balance the discipline and the playfulness? Because we'd be in McDonald's, and you were no doubt the one who was. Well, I mean, at one time we were there, and you were the one who started shooting spit wads at everybody. and so it, like that, that's what makes me wonder, like, what, how does that, I don't know, how do you make that difference between being intense and trying to be disciplined and then being playful?
Well, I think that there's a good boundary there. When I was growing up, we never really had a lot of friends. My mom wasn't well, so therefore we didn't have a lot of kids over to play in the yard. We didn't go to people's houses. Friendships were just at school, and that was only 1 or 2. I wanted my children to have friends. I wanted them to have fun and enjoy life. Life is too short not to. So I have a creative side on me, and we would do things, but then we would know when to stop. So once it got to a certain point, we all just, we'd say, okay, we're done. And then we would all quit. So it was a happy balance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel it's difficult, as a parent. I mean, that's kind of what I'm calling out here. We have a lot of non-parents, parents, other things, people who've done things different ways and whatnot, but being able to understand like that balance of playfulness, and it's probably not the same for everybody, but it is kind of intriguing, just the fact of like, I mean, I don't know, it's been hard. It's been a journey for you, Mom, and trying to figure out like how to I mean, we don't have to talk about it, but like how to forgive your father a little bit for, some things that have taken place. Like both your mom and dad have passed away.
Yep.
My grandma and grandpa. But we find that it's still a challenge even after their death to kind of deal with, some of that trauma that took place. I don't know. You want to talk a little bit about some of that?
Well, but we're mandated to forgive. And it took me to go to college the freshman year, spiritual emphasis week, where they spoke on forgiveness. And I had to actively work to forgive. And forgiveness doesn't come overnight. Forgiveness is a continual thing. So I forgave Dad. And when things would come back up, I'd say, Satan, I already forgave Dad. So just let it go. It's a continuous thing. You forgive so that you yourself can walk closer to God, not for the other person. You do it for yourself. So, at my age, I still forgive Dad. It's a conscious effort to do that.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I can see how that works that way. Which kind of leads me into it sounds like you've been continuing to work on these things and to grow and learn and be able to adjust on that. But you're not young anymore. So what are you? Yeah, you're not young anymore, Mom. It's okay. But what are some of these things that you're doing that you're trying to do or are doing to kind of continue to grow?
Well, I have a son who gives me books to read. Right now, I'm reading the Rare Leadership book, which has a lot of things in there. As a pastor's wife and a mom, my goal is to continue growing my walk with God and how to include others in that and lead them to a closer walk with God also. So the Rare Leadership book has been really good for discussions with you and your dad, and just keep learning on those things. You're never going to know it all.
No, you never are. You never are going to know it all. But it is really neat how you can continue to grow and grow and grow and continue to learn, even though they say old dogs don't learn new tricks, Mom. How do you respond to that one?
Well, I'm not an old dog.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I think you have to want to learn. I think you have to strive to learn and not be content where you are. A lot of times when you retire from a job, you just go around and sit there and do something and you lose the capabilities of doing things. I watched Mom when she retired. She got Alzheimer's and thinking was really hard to do. My goal is when I retired from teaching was not to sit, was to continuously learn. And so I learn about education, the new things that are going on. I learn how to read a pattern when I'm sewing. Those are hard for me to do. I learn how to garden more naturally. I'm constantly always keeping my mind going and learning about all kinds of things.
I like it, Mom. Well, hey, Mom, I know it's short and sweet, but I appreciate the great words that you kind of given to us. I mean, it's just neat to think about how, God at the center of everything that's going on. And not just that, but just the way, you and Dad, you talked about kind of your relationship and being able to talk to each other about the things that are happening and going on and not trying to hide everything, but of course not like relaying everything that's going on because you didn't let the trauma that happened in your life affect the way that you raised us. And even, later on in life, we only found out about it because, there was one point in time where, we were getting together and we're talking and you were just like, I feel like my dad's yelling at me. And we were kind of like, whoa, what just happened there? And able to learn, again, more about you and your story, which has continued to help me to grow and my sister and my brother and everyone who comes around. And, we can give a lot of thanks to, our friend, longtime friend, Tracy Arts, too. She's been very helpful for you in the process. But
yeah, it's been.
Thank you so much for being on, and maybe we'll have you back on here again, Mom.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Love you.
And we will talk to you another time.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Zappo.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's my mama, Miss Judy Masterson, on the show. And we're not done here yet. We're going to continue on. I know we're at 7:34, but it's great to hear those type of things. And again, sorry if the audio is a little echoey and going back and forth. There was one thing I wanted to check. Probably need to sync my audio with the Google Hangouts, Google Meet that I was using, but wasn't able to do that.
Like I said, fire your producer, get a new one. You're paying him too much.
Yeah, that I am. Seems that way. But you have been working your tail off over there to try and make us sound as best as we can. But either way,
it's all part of it, baby.
and it is all part of it. Oh man, I just love it because it is all part of it. And right now we're going to talk about it's all part of it. It was interesting, as we told you, my grandma had passed away, my dad's mom, and went to the funeral. And sure enough, as I get to the funeral, I am talking to my cousin Tyler and his wife Mary, and they were talking about, as they were trying to drive up from Dayton, which is where they're coming from. We were all heading to Fort Wayne. And the alternator in their car or van, whatever it was, in their vehicle, went out. And so when that took place, they had watched the show, and they were like, you know what? It's just all part of it. And that's what I love. I mean, this is a motto. It's the motto that helps us to stay positive and not let the situation bring us down. Zap, you had any it's all part of it stories? I mean, there's countless of them. We were already saying it like 15 times coming into this show.
Yeah. I mean, and in essence, people are like, well, what does it mean? I mean, is it basically, when stuff happens, you're not going to let it get to you. I was just with a buddy a couple weeks ago, leaving one of our men's meetings, about Fight Club. If you don't, you can't talk about it. So I'll have to talk about that at a different time. But, we had a great conversation. It was late. Literally, he's like, I got to go. My wife is expecting me. And so he got a text message and was like, oh, there's my sign. Got to run. Hopped in the truck, pulled out of his parking spot, and ran over a stop sign pole thing and just sliced and diced his sweet truck. And he got out of the car, and I was expecting an eruption. And I don't think the verbiage was, it's all part of it, but he was like, that's how it goes.
It's all part of. It's all part of. It's all part of.
Beautiful. There it is, baby.
I figured it out, people.
Hey, give us enough time.
Figured it out, and I'm able to get my audio where it's supposed to be, so now it's not so echoey the way it was.
Did you ever watch Pinky and the Brain growing up?
Oh, you know what? I almost put Pinky and the Brain on here.
It might come in. Some of our old classic cartoons, like shout out to the Homestar Runner fans.
Homestar.
We actually said Coach Z twice. I was wondering if anybody would pick it up. And then, so part of this saying from an outsider's perspective is just like, hey, don't let it ruin your day. Like, life's going to go on one way or another.
Exactly. I think that's a perfect way to say it. And that's where, again, as we're coming all through this together, we're looking to entertain, encourage, equip, inspire. And so that's one of the things where it's just simple and sweet, where we're able to just throw that out there and shoot. We had one of our coaches was telling me about the fact that one of our other coaches was using it's all part of it, and I don't think he was realizing that he was using it's all part of it, because it's just becoming a part of the verbiage, the lingo. It's gonna be like Fight Club, like the movie Fight Club. You're gonna see a guy with a black eye or something else, and you're just gonna know, like, yes. You're one of those people. Like you're one of my people. I can handle that. Right, Zappo?
It's all part of it. Love it. Fight Club is a non-fighting club, and we have a disclaimer on this show that we do not encourage violence of any kind.
Yeah, we'll see.
Paid for by.
With that, we want to hear your stories. I know you're all having It's All Part of It stories, so feel free. It should be in the show notes or down in the description below. Masty, email me at thejustinmastersonshow.live. Simple and sweet right there. Go ahead and do that. Send it whenever. Put in the subject. It's all part of it. And, let us know.
It's all part of. It's all part of. It's all part of.
Yeah, that's a bunch of different movies. And I'm also trying to work some T-shirts.
You know a guy?
I know a few guys, and we'll see if we can put them together. And so Zappo can't actually see this, but I can see it on my screen, where you got this one that you guys can see if you're looking at it. It says It's All Part of It on the front, little JM logo on the back. We got the JM logo on the front with It's All Part of It on the back. And then my final, which Coach Bear, Coach Collier, for my boys there, the big head Justin on the front.
Ooh.
Along with It's All Part of It on the back in sign painter font. Just the way it's supposed to be and just the way we like it.
Nice.
But one of the big things that I like to talk about, especially the way it's been encouraged to me, and my mom brought up the idea of one of the books that I've really liked called Rare Leadership. Kind of helped me out in many ways to put really language to some of the things I've been talking about, because maturity is an extremely big thing. And maturity, as I define it, is the ability to handle the big emotions that come your way well. To be able to still act like yourself, to be able to remain relational, return to joy, and then endure whatever hardship comes your way well, which is why It's All Part of It fits in there really good. Because let's think about it. Coaches, they're screaming, yelling. Parents, screaming and yelling. Getting angry. How many men do we have with anger issues and problems like that? I mean, we got bosses who get to their spots because they're hard workers, not because they know how to handle their emotions or deal with people. We got employees. I mean, whether you attend a church or you don't attend a church, whether you love God, you don't love God, like the ability for people to handle the big emotions that come their way is just not very good. And so then you'll wonder why our kids struggle at the ability to do that. I mean, how about that travel ball, Zap? How's that world when it comes to being able to handle your emotions well with coaches and players and all types of stuff?
Do we have another 30 minutes? So, I mean, the short of it is I went into youth baseball coaching thinking I was coaching kids, which, first of all, I'm not very good at, but they tend to like me even if I'm not a good coach, so it works. But you wind up coaching the kids, the parents, the umpires, and the opposing coaches. So it winds up being pretty impossible is the point. So any given day, game, I actually don't know who I'm going to be interacting with because it's a wild frontier. And I know that baseball is actually more mild than some of the other travel sports. So.
Yeah, so I hear. Yes, yeah. That is true. Yeah, it's a crazy world. We haven't dipped our toe in it, but I'm around it enough that it's just unbelievable. But one of the ways that we can work through that is to be able to actually, let's say this. One of the ways to be able to know whether or not we're able to handle these emotions well, one of the first steps is to understand can we remain relational in the midst of whatever emotion comes. Mm-hmm. Which the biggest thing that I love and the phrase that I love to say is being able to keep the relationship bigger than the problem.
Love it.
Now, usually we don't do a very good job of that because a problem arises, and what do? We get mad, and then we get frustrated, and then we see the person in front of us as a problem. And so when we're able to keep the relationship bigger than the problem, that allows us to remain relational. It doesn't mean we're not angry. It doesn't mean we're not upset. It doesn't mean we don't feel sadness or disgust or any of those things. Like those emotions are there, and we can validate them and say, like, yes, I'm feeling that. That's real. But we can't let those things dictate what we're doing. Like, that's just ridiculous. And so through that, one of the ways we like to do that is a thing called cake. You like to eat cake, Zappo?
I love cake. I mean, all sorts of cake.
Yeah. So the cake we're talking about it's really what do they say when the letters mean each have a different word for each letter?
Acronym?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, sounds good. So you got, if you're eating cake, there's 4 things. 1, curiosity. When you're being curious about something, you're not thinking about yourself, thinking about somebody else. 2 is appreciation. If you're appreciating something about somebody else, you're not thinking about yourself. 3 is kindness. Kindness is doing joy for somebody else, helping somebody else feel joy. So it's not about you. And the final one is making eye contact, which I always thought it was really interesting that eye contact would be one of these. But when you think about it, when those relational circuits are popped off, you're angry, upset, like you can't look at somebody in the eyes. Like you're moving your eyes around, you don't want to look at them. And so eye contact is actually a big part of understanding, like, I can be relational right now and look you in the eye. And so I want to tell you a story about the trash lady. Zappa, were you there for this trash lady when we went to drop off trash and she was just in a really bad mood?
Is this all the way back in college?
It wasn't in college. It was we had Todd over at the house, I think. So it might have been with Todd.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if you were there.
I've heard the story, but I was not part of it. The only trash stories I have is my wife and I laugh is dumpster diving in college to get donuts out of the bakeries, which is just awful when you're poor and broke and you need a sugar rush.
Diving for donuts.
But let's cake. You had me on sugar. Let's go back to your trash lady story. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So we'll have it with this. We go to the waste station, which gives you a spot to be able to dump off whatever trash that you have. And so we're loaded up either a trailer or a truck or something. I can't remember which. And so you drive up and they weigh you. And so to get weighed, we step out of the vehicle and go into the office and go in to talk to the lady. And the lady, the secretary there, is just having, I mean, she is short with us. She is mean. She's upset. I mean, maybe it was close to closing time. I can't totally remember that, but she was not happy whatsoever and just being really mean. And I take a deep breath, take a moment, and I'm like, there's got to be something more than this. Like, it can't be me right now. It's causing all her issues and whoever's with me. And so I just, let her be upset, let her be mean. We get back in the vehicle, go get rid of the trash. We go home, and we're like, you know what? I think we should go give her a gift. And so my wife, who makes some of the most amazing cookies in the world, we put some of her cookies in a tin, and then we wrap it up, put a little, like, hope your day gets better. And I think it was it might have been that day. Like, we went right back, and we step in. We're like, hey, we're not trying to be rude, but you just seem like you're having a tough day, and we're just hoping that this cheers it up. And I'll tell you what.
A little chocolate chip cookie action.
Yes,
Love
exactly. And she starts crying.
Ooh.
Her sister had just been diagnosed with cancer.
Ooh.
And, felt like the world was falling in on her. And I'm sure she was on the brink of what in her mind probably felt like a nervous breakdown. And she literally was able to cry it out, and it just changed her mood, like, unbelievably. Now, we didn't get it in that moment because I remember now we had given her a cookie card. Merrill Masterson's home plate cookies.
Yeah.
Not in existence anymore, but technically.
Big shout out to Merrill on that. Just love those cookies.
But we left a cookie card. The lady sent an email, and that's how we knew, because we didn't stick around to really hash it out with her. Left her email, and she just was able to send us an email and tell us the incredible story as she's in tears, telling us all about it. And so that's just one of the many ways to be able to understand that, like, if you keep the relationship, and you're like, well, you didn't have a relationship. Well, I established the relationship when I walked in. And so if you can keep that relationship bigger than whatever the problem is, that's going to change the way any of these conversations go. And so I'm going to challenge you as I challenge myself and as I challenge Zappo. Next couple weeks, work on it. Work on having a little cake, being curious about somebody else. When you feel that those big emotions come on and you're like, I'd rather just punch this person in the face, even though we do not condone violence.
That's right.
But you might feel that way because it wells up inside of us. Go do some substitute teaching and well up even more, or hang out with coaches. I see you cringing over there, Zappo.
I'm just trying to remember the A.
The appropriate.
You're at curious, and I'm just trying to remember the A.
Appreciation.
Oh, love it.
Because it's not me. I'm trying to appreciate that beard of yours.
Curious, like Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Appreciate people.
Yes, and then you're going to be kind, because kindness is trying to bring joy to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so that's what, when we're bringing the cookies, that's us being kind, showing some kindness to the lady.
I just heard gratitude is the forerunner for generosity. So if we go there, you appreciate him is the gratitude, and then the generosity is with your words, being kind. So that sticks up. I like it.
Yeah.
And then E?
E is eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
Looking right into the camera. See? Making eye contact right now. I see you out there, Danny Collier. Appreciate you.
Number 29?
He is number 29, jersey in the back. Big DC representing U of Indy. Hitting coach, Fishers Tigers, which while we're on Fishers Tigers, for my last bit, just because I wanted to leave you with the cake, and then that's how we were going to end it. But instead, when we're rocking it right now, as we're coming to the end of our show, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Andrew Baldini, because he is Fishers Tigers baseball athlete. And it just happens that he was the first one to like my Instagram post. Doesn't mean you're going to get any more playing time, but appreciate that. Glad you're on top of that. Also hope two of my good buddies, Mr. Matt Cherry, who is also Coach Cherry, recovers well from his shoulder surgery, and my guy Grant Hayworth, played for me in basketball. An amazing lineman who is going to Ball State to play football, also had shoulder surgery. Hope he does well. And I'll say this. On behalf of any Pod Labs, which is where we're at, using their facilities, and on behalf of Mr. Zappizzotti and my mom, we thank you for showing up, for being here. A little craziness, but we love you. Thanks so much. Have a great night.